Fact of the matter is that Hamas has really been indifferent, or I would say even more than that. I mean, upset about the fact that the aid has been administered by Americans and Israelis. I mean, the JHF is an American contractor with the help of the Israelis. They oppose that in every way, shape, or form. And what they've been doing all along is trying to steal the aid. And so the fact of the matter is that the aid center itself, while it helps the people, becomes a target for Hamas. Furthermore, they also want to show that it is unsuccessful in its deliverable abilities to the Gazan population, so they can then argue that really the people that should be administering the aid should be the United Nations, in particular groups like UNRWA, which are of course been complicit with terrorism. So they're trying to revert back to a pre-10/7 reality, given the fact that they want to use their people, which is really the United Nations. And so that's really where they're coming at it from. And parenthetically, this is actually part of one of the sticking point issues as it relates now to the debate about the conditions of the upcoming ceasefire and negotiations vis-a-vis the hostages. One of the reservations that the Israelis have has to do, of course, with the JHF, because Hamas is demanding that UNRWA and other United Nations organizations come back into the picture, even though they've been removed. It makes them feel better and they could work with their own people. And that's part of the push and pull that's playing out here on the aid issue. But the aid has always been abused, and Hamas uses it to its advantage.
As far as the trip from Prime Minister Netanyahu, he is going to be making that trip to the White House, and he's made a few now. He's going to be there on Monday, meeting with President Trump. Does that say that we are closer to a potential deal to be making that
advantage?
As far as the trip from Prime Minister Netanyahu, he is going to be making that trip to the White House, and he's made a few now. He's going to be there on Monday, meeting with President Trump. Does that say that we are closer to a potential deal? Because they could have talked over the phone, but to actually have him fly out here, that's got to indicate that it's a little bit more, I guess, serious, and it's progressed farther.
Henkelman's chamber back.
Well, I think it's unique in the sense that it speaks highly to the how strong the U.S.-Israel relationship is. I mean, Netanyahu, this will be his third visit in 6 months since Trump was elected back into office. The fact of the matter is that both leaders, I believe, deserve a victory lap in the sense of the post-Iran strike. That was a very strong message to all our adversaries, including Israeli adversaries, that the U.S. and Israel are together and on the same page here when it comes to the nucleus of all terrorism worldwide and the patrons of the Gaza war at large vis-a-vis Iran. So I think that this is going to be a significant monumental visit in that regard. That being said, I think you are right. I think that we are going to be, it is an indicator that that they're closer to moving along a deal. Obviously, Trump wants to end this war. It would be a good move, from his perspective. And of course, as far as calm in the region itself, there's a lot on the table, obviously, regarding, and this is to your earlier point, regarding what does the day after tomorrow look like, regarding aid issues, regarding reconstruction of Gaza. These are all part of the larger pictures, but none of these can happen without the hostages coming back. And part of the other issue, of course, is what does all this mean for Hamas itself and Hamas's survival? For the Israelis, of course, having Hamas as any part of a day after tomorrow constellation is a non-starter. It's unclear exactly what we're hearing now as far as what Hamas will serve in that capacity. And this has all been part of the back and forth. But on a larger scale, as I said before, this is really a telling moment vis-a-vis the strength of the U.S.-Israel relationship working together in concert when it comes to a larger and a greater threat vis-a-vis Iran and Iranian proxies.
Is there any indication that Hamas would ever agree to anything that removes them from leadership? They have held on and pretty much said that they're not giving up. So is there anything that could actually make that happen?
There's really no indication of that. I mean, the current, what we know to be, as of now, the parameters that have been put out vis-a-vis the deal itself, that we're looking at a 60-day deal. We're looking at, on the first day one, there are 20 live hostages. There will be 8 released, and then 2 others released on day 50. In addition to all of that, there will be also the returning of the dead during this phase period. It is a very complex and a drawn-out period, and it's going to be emotionally, psychologically, it's a hard pill for the Israelis to swallow vis-a-vis this kind of phased, drawn-out deal. And every time nobody knows what's going to happen until they actually cross the border. The 3 sticking points in the deal itself have to do, one, with the pushing back of the Israeli army further back as far as where they are inside of Gaza. Secondly, had to do it, of course, with the issue of the Gaza aid. And again, to your earlier point, as far as replacing the GHF once again with UNRWA and other UN agencies that, of course, are basically Hamas. And the third deal, of course, relates to the ending of the war itself, which, again, the Israelis want to have a window of an opportunity to resume if things don't go as planned. And these are all part of the sticking point issues. What it does allow, and this is goes back to your first point, it does allow Hamas to be part of the day after tomorrow scenario, and it allows Hamas to govern this situation in whatever capacity they're in. That's part of the real issue that the Israelis have, and that goes against the stated objective goals of the war vis-a-vis the decapitation, the removal of Hamas altogether. The other question that I'm adding here, and really I think that really needs to be looked at very carefully, that could be part of the conversations, and I'm sure it will be on Monday when Netanyahu is in D.C., as it relates to the participation of other partners in the Arab world, the Saudis, the Egyptians, and other partnerships, whether or not they will join forces and whether or not they can marginalize Hamas, which is really going to be part of the questioning that will assuage the Israelis in regard to what Gaza looks like after all this ends.